Do you know, this is the most annoying episode of the Fully Charged Show I've ever made. 12 years. I'm really angry. You know, because I've waited so long for something like this. Look at this. This comes along now. Oh yeah, now it's really good now. 12 years ago, you couldn't get anything like this. God, to get a car that went as far as this on one charge, 150,000 quid. That was the Tesla Roadster, the first car I ever drove on Fully Charged Show. This car now just does, 200 miles if you want, yeah, whatever. Like, it's no big deal. So annoying. This car you could buy so many of these for the price of a Tesla Roadster. I'll tell you how much it is in a bit. I'm not going to go on about it now, but I'm really angry. So that is the MG4. Fantastic car. And this is the Fully Charged Show.
Fully Charged Live is coming to California this September 10th and 11th, powered by Electrify America. Get your tickets to the #1 EV and home energy show now.
So this is the MG4. It is a 4-door family hatchback. It's a small, sensible car. It's not a massive SUV. And for that, they already get stars, 5 gold stars from me, just because it's so refreshing to see this. Made from the ground up as an electric car. The version is called the Trophy, and there's also the SE. The SE has a 51 kilowatt hour battery that gives you 218 miles of range, roughly. And starts at a certain price, which I'll talk about in a moment. And then this one, which is the one I will be driving today. This is 64 kilowatt hours. This is the Trophy, 64 kilowatt hours with 280 miles of range. And that's a little bit more expensive, but not that much more expensive, and still a lot cheaper than a lot of other competitor cars. I tell you, the first thing I love about this car, instantly, as soon as I saw it, forget all the looks, forget the range, the speed, the power, what I really loved is the name. MG4, I can remember it. It's not a whole string of weird numbers and letters or weird names based on Spanish resorts or whatever else. It's the MG4. It's like the ID3. You can remember it, and it's easy to remember, and you don't have to, struggle. So we've reviewed other MGs in the past, the MG5, the MG ZS EV. So harder names to remember. So this is their first. This is MG's first. Absolutely built from the ground up with this new battery platform, this modular battery platform. So the design of the modular battery platform, I mean, this particular version is rear-wheel drive. It can be four-wheel drive, and I'll come on to that again later on. But also it's scalable, so this can go from somewhere around 40 kilowatt hours to like 150 kilowatt hours using the same modules. Obviously, 150 kilowatt hours is going to be bigger, and that's obviously for a bigger vehicle, which they haven't done that yet, but that's the way it's been designed with that being borne in mind. So this car is really the first proper step, I think, in MG's journey to 100% electric manufacturing. Now, when I first saw this car, I saw it from the front, and I was really impressed. I thought it looked really nice. When I saw the back, I admit I was a bit challenged. I was a bit challenged by that because it's got some stuff going on. It's got this very big lip that goes all the way across there with the lights on. In the Trophy model, it's got this extra wing thing, which actually uses slightly more energy than without. So it's not entirely obvious what that's all about. But here's one of the little things that's just instantaneously good. There's been quite a few cars I've come across where I didn't know how to open the back, and you're looking for the thing. It's just instantly obvious. It's there. It's obviously where it should be. Big, roomy boot, lots and lots of room, trunk. So plenty of room in the back for what is relatively a small car. Really nicely built. That is really a key thing. The actual fit and finish of this car. Charging, very straightforward. Normal 7 and 11 kilowatt AC charger for use at home. Then you take the old cap off, and there you got your DC fast charging up to 120 kilowatts, which is really good. And that's becoming more and more common with new cars. But one of the interesting things, and we don't have the adapter here, but there is an adapter you plug into the AC connector, and you can run a domestic socket off it. You can take power out of the car, run things. You can boil a kettle, have a little cooker, have lights, have a sound system, have a electric barbecue, whatever. I mean, you could. run a long extension cable into your house and run a load of lights if you were in a power cut. You know, I'm just saying you could do that. So it is capable of doing that. It's not a vehicle to grid or vehicle to house officially. It's vehicle to load, which I think is really good that they're doing that. Nice feature. Now, walking around it now, I'm really noticing the build quality. It is really peachy. It's very, very good. The design language of the front is, I think, nothing too shocking or stunning or amazing. I don't hate it. I don't particularly love it, but it's you know, it all works. It feels tight and it feels well put together. One thing that sets this car apart a little bit is this down here. That is an active intake grille. That can open or close. When it's closed, it's more efficient. There's less drag on the vehicle. When it's open, it's obviously cooling the control system, the battery management system that's under the bonnet. It's rear-wheel drive, so the motor's back there. So it keeps the batteries cool if they need to be. But if you don't need to keep the batteries cool, that closes off and it's more efficient. You can go further on one charge. These little scoops, I think, yes, they blow air over your wheels to make it more aerodynamic. And that's a design feature that I've seen on quite a few things. And it comes from like really high-end, very high-speed vehicles, and it's kind of worked its way down into normal cars. But it's not too obtrusive. The back I find a little bit of a weird look, but I guess you get used to it. And also, I would definitely recognise it if I was driving along and was following this car. You'd sort of go, that's an MG4. But this is just sort of, it's a bit car-like, isn't it? Big puddle. I'm going to go through a big puddle, see what happens. Oh, yeah. It doesn't leak. Not sure I love the steering wheel. So it's got this funny flat bottom, and then it just kind of threw me then. It felt weird. I wanted a round steering wheel rather than a sort of squared off one. It's not terrible, but it did feel strange then when I went sort of hard over. Right, let's see how nippy it is across junction. Ooh, rear wheel drive, love that, felt that then, was conscious of it. So I just prefer rear wheel drive. Maybe I'm old school, but it's rear wheel drive, front wheel steering, super tight on the road, very, very confident feeling. I wasn't at all alarmed at that. I could feel all the power coming from the back. 50-50 weight distribution, perfect balance. The front wheels are holding up exactly the same amount of weight as the rear wheels. That is very unusual in old-fashioned cars. That was a really hard thing to achieve in a car with a massive lump of steel in the front called a combustion engine. So there are 5 driving modes. There's Snow, which I'm obviously not going to be able to check that out now. There's Eco, which I haven't tried. I'm going to try that. There is Normal, which is what I was in before, and there is Sport, and then there's Custom. So I don't quite know what Custom will do. Maybe you can set it up yourself, but this is Sport mode now. Now, I did floor it a couple of times before. There's an interesting little delay. It's not a massive, I'm not noticing a huge difference, but I've got quite strong regen. So I can turn the regen onto weak, and then you just kind of, that's sort of like freewheeling. Yeah, you don't really slow down with the regen. One of the things I can't tell with this is exactly how energy efficient it is. Okay, now I can tell. There is the information on the screen. So 3.6 miles to the kilowatt hour. Now that is not brilliant, but I have been doing anything but careful driving. I already can feel I could get that higher. 3.6 is not rubbish. The Audi e-tron, for instance, gets about 2.5. The Jaguar I-Pace, if you're really careful, 2.6, 2.7, and this is getting 3.5 now with me like definitely not driving it carefully, and now we're driving in very heavy rain, which when you drive a combustion car, you're not aware of that. When you drive in very heavy rain, you burn more fuel than when you drive in dry conditions. There is actually more resistance on the tyres from the water on the road. I was never even aware of that, but you do less miles to the gallon or kilometres to the litre when it's raining heavily, and you also use more electricity. You get less range when you're driving in heavy rain, which I am now. So instantly familiar interior. As soon as I got onto this car, I just knew how to drive it. It's very, very simple. Gear selector there, just turn the knob, off you go. It's got a parking brake, it automatically disengages. Everything is automatic. No, you don't have to press a button to start it. You sit in the car, you turn that, you go. That is really good. Very, very clear dash screen there. Really, very easy to work out what's going on. Up here, the software is better than most. The sat-nav is okay. The built-in sat-nav, pretty good. I've seen a lot worse. It connects to the good thing is it's got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is so easy. Just plug your phone in and everything is on there that you recognise, that will update, that really works well. So that is a brilliant feature. A couple of things that were slightly more complicated, took me a while to get used to. So there's a star button on the steering wheel, and that allows you to choose the thing that you instantly want to do. So at the moment it's set to do the heating and cooling. So it just does that automatically, one button on the steering wheel, and you can adjust everything with that. But you can also you can reset it so that it does the driver modes, because the driver modes are a little bit buried in the menus. But I now know I can press the star, I could reprogram it so that it just brings up the driver modes. Not that you're going to change it a lot, but I just wanted to have a go in the different modes. And I'll be honest, there wasn't a massive difference between eco, normal and sport. They were all fine. I think if you drove in the eco mode, you would get a longer range from it. The actual quality of the materials, I think for the price of the car, really, really good. Incredibly comfy seats, electrically operated. You can't beat that. A little bit of forward and backwards with a little button, a little bit of tip back. That makes me happy. That's very nice. So let's have a look in the back. Now, obviously I'm nowhere near the height of Jack. Actually, this is really comfy and loads of room. You can see that's where I would have the seat for driving. Little pockets there, USB charger, ISO fittings for kids' seats. And it's really kind of tidy and neat. And plenty of room, really roomy. I don't know about Jack. I mean, I've got plenty of headroom there, but I think Jack is taller than me. But he does that clever thing where he sits like that. Then there's loads of room. So look, just to put it in perspective, I'm only 6 inches shorter than Jack, so he's a bit bigger. So I think it would be cosy for Mr. Scarlett. It would be nice and cosy in the back, but it's plenty room enough, and it's much bigger than you expect from the outside. It is very much like the ID3 is similar size, but there is a big difference between this car and the ID3. So I needed to sit down for this bit because this is a little bit of a surprise, bit of a shock. But the car we've been driving today starts at £25,995. That is for a vehicle that has a 218-mile range, has vehicle to load with a £100 adapter, can charge to 80% in 30 minutes, has 120 kilowatt charging, is a really well-built car, and it's under £26,000. Now, just to give a comparison, because you can say to me, that's a lot of money. Of course it is a lot of money, but let's see what else you can get within the similar size of car, similar range, all that sort of stuff. The Renault Zoe, 31,000 it starts at. The Vauxhall Corsa E, 29,000. These all cars have very similar range to the base, the MG4 SE. The Peugeot, the E208, that is £30,000. The ID3, which is really the closest to this car in terms of size, in terms of range, in terms of build quality, in terms of technology that you use in the car, £36,000. This is a full £10,000 cheaper than the Volkswagen ID3. I think this car is going to make a big impact on the roads of the United Kingdom and elsewhere. I'm really impressed with this car. I kind of knew I'd like it when I first saw it. Covered in camouflage, I thought that is going to be interesting when that comes out, because it's not an SUV. If nothing else, this is not a compact SUV or a big SUV or a big heavy car. This is a smaller, lighter, longer range electric car. And what they're going to be doing with it next year is very exciting for people who were possibly susceptible to the concept of the hot hatch. We will see next year with the MG4 performance model, 4-wheel drive, 77 kilowatt hour battery, 0 to 60, sub 4 seconds, proper hot hatch. Totally unnecessary, but I can't help being slightly interested. And I'm looking forward to test driving that next year, because I'm going to bully Jack to let me have a go, even if he reviews it and does a much better job than I can do. I just want to have a go in it, otherwise it's not fair. But yeah, that is very interesting that they've decided to do that. But this isn't the ending. There's still a little bit more I want to tell you. No, there isn't really. Just please do subscribe to the Fully Charged Show. Tell your mates about it. Have a look at the Patreon link that's in the description box beneath this video. And as always, if you have been, thank you for watching.